and welcome. This is the second part of my playthrough of the Battle of Dobre, fought 17 February 1831. It was published in the 46th issue of Tactics and Strategy magazine in both Polish and English language. So, we are in the turn 10, so this is the half of the game, and now Russians reached the outskirts of Dobre, but they have to break through the main Polish defensive line. So this might be the bloodiest part of the battle. So far Russians are doing pretty well, I think. They managed to destroy 2 Polish infantry battalions, and they are moving on, while Polish soldiers have to do their best to stop them now, because if they will capture at last 2 hexes of Dobre, they will be victorious. Okay, so we are starting the turn, and first of all, let's roll for initiative. So, Poles, Russians, Poles 1 initiative. Okay, next we have to roll to check for the command. Polish units are all in command here, save this cavalry. Russian units are all in command as well. So no problem. And next we have to roll for the reorganization. So these 2 Polish units have to be reorganized. They passed. And now Russians. This Russian regiment needs to be reorganized as well. 9, they failed. So, well, they cannot be reorganized. Okay, next, Polish artillery fire. And now, this artillery fires here. 6, and +1, because they are firing to the stack which is bigger than 8 strength points, but even so, I believe this is a miss, because we are firing from the 2 hexes. Yes, we need 10 or more to hit. And now they are firing here. Also a miss. No good. Okay, so that's all when it comes to the Polish artillery fire phase, and now Polish movement phase. Now, I will move this battalion here. This artillery and battalion are changing their facing, so they will be able to fire at this area. And now I am going to use my cavalry, and they are changing their facing here, and they want to charge. So they are moving here, and they are attacking this Russian unit. They are attacking it from the rear, so Russians cannot perform their rifle combat, and Poles are attacking them normally. So this unit isn't very strong. It has only 2 points, so now we have to check for the charge modifiers. Well, they tripled their strength due to the charge, so they have 6, and Russians has also 6. So this is 1-to-1. Next, we get +1 because of the charge, so this is +1. Next, we are attacking them from the rear, so this is +2, so this is +3, and +1 because they are disorganized. So Polish unit has +4, and -1 because they are out of command, so this is 3. They have totally of +3. 7 in the combat table, it is 1T + T. So Russians have to undergo a morale check, and they have to retreat. They failed, so they are broken, and now they have to retreat. 1, 2, 1 because of the retreat, and 1, 2 because they are broken. And this unit has to undergo morale check as well. They passed. Now Polish cavalry has to undergo morale check too. 5, they passed, and so they can go here, but since this is a marsh, so they are losing charge counter. And now we have to check for the losses. Russians had 6, so this was 5-6, and -2 for being attacked from the rear, so 1. No losses for Polish cavalry. And now Russian losses. Poles had 6 +2 because of the being because of the attacking from the rear, so it's 9-10, and 8 in the 9-10. This is 1 loss. So this infantry unit suffers 1 loss. All right, so that's all when it comes to the Polish to this attack. And now Polish unit can still move, and they spent 2 movement points. They were here. They changed the facing by 1, 2, 3, 4, and now 5, 6, 7, and 8. Yes, they could do so because this unit has its zone of control only on the 3 front hexes. So being there means that they were not in its zone of control. So that's all, and Poles aren't doing much else. They want to defend. They are not going to perform any attacks, so they are not making any further actions. Now Russians. Russian artillery is going to fire at Poles. This artillery fires here. Miss. This artillery fires there. A miss. So that's all. And now let's go to the Russian movement. So this unit moves here, changes its facing by 1 and goes here. So Polish artillery is free to fire at them. And I think it hit. It is 1 hex range. Yes, it is -1. Okay. This unit goes here. Polish artillery fires at them. 7, this is a miss. This unit goes there. And this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, well, it wants to protect this broken regiment. So that's all when it comes to the Russian movement, and now we can resolve Russian attacks. So first here, this regiment has 5 and it is attacking from the marshes. If unit attacks from the marshes, it has its strength reduced by half. So it has 3 versus 1 and 3, so 4. So this is 1-to-1. There are no other modifiers. We have to make a roll. And 5. So both sides have to undergo morale checks. Russians, they passed. Poles, they passed. So now let's check for losses. Russians had 3 and 10. 1 loss on Polish side. Oh, that's bad for Poles. And Poles had 4. No losses on Russian side. This regiment attacks here. Oh, I forgot to perform a rifle combat here, so sorry, we'll ignore it. And now this regiment. This one has a strength of 4 because of being on march, and it fires with rifle combat. 10 in the 4, I think this is a hit. Yes, this is a hit. So 2, 3 suffers 1 loss, and Polish regiment also fires. It is a miss. So there is a 4 versus 3, so this is 1-to-1, and 6. Amazing! Polish infantry has to retreat 1 hex, and Russian and Polish artillery cannot. So now we have to make rolls for the morale. Russians, they failed, and this means that they cannot pursue. And Polish units, they also failed. Ooh, that's bad. Okay, and now losses. Russians had 4, so 3, 4, 11, 3, 4, one hit. So Polish battalion is suffering heavy losses in this battle, and Russian losses 9 in the 3, 4, 1 loss as well. So that's kind of bloody combat. Now this regiment attacks here. They have 7 and they are firing. They with 7 and 7, this is a miss. And now 7 versus 3, 2, it is 3 to 1. Plus 3, 5. Both sides are performing morale checks. Russians passed, Poles passed. So losses after combat, Poles had 2, no losses for Russians. Russians had 7 and 7, 1 loss for Polish cavalry. Okay, this is bad. Well, I don't like it. I mean, as a Polish commander, I wouldn't be happy with the current situation. So this concludes turn 10. We are moving into turn 11. Okay, let's go with a turn 11, and we are starting with initiative roll for Poles, for Russians. This is Polish initiative, and now let's go and check for comment. Polish units are, well, this artillery is not in command, so I have to mark it as out of range, and this cavalry remains out of range. Now Russians, their commanders are here and there, so I believe all the Russian units are in command. Okay, now reorganization. This battalion 8, it cannot be reorganized, and Russians, this broken regiment, it is reorganized. This one cannot, and this one cannot either. So that's all when it comes to the reorganization. And now Polish artillery fire. So this artillery fires here 10, and this is 1 hex range. And this unit has less than 10, I believe. Yes, it has 6, so it undergoes morale check. So it failed. Now this artillery fires. It is disorganized, so I wonder if it can. I need to check this out. Disorganization. Yes, it cannot. So no artillery fire for this artillery unit, and that's all when it comes to the artillery fire. And now Poles. Okay, what Poles are going to do? They are in the pretty tough situation, because Russians here are disorganized. That's good, but well, Poles here are pretty weak, and this Polish unit is disorganized either. So I think that the best thing I can do is to withdraw 1, 2, and 3 here, and this battalion, I think it's still quite fresh. Yes, it has still 4 strength points, and this battalion goes here. And this group changes its facing like that. So, and this cavalry, well, it moves 1, 2, and tries to charge on Russians again, like that. But now Russians can fire with the rifles on them. Well, they failed, I believe. Podolski 7 and a roll of 7. This is a miss. Okay, so now we can resolve this attack. Poles have 1. They are tripling their strength, so they have 6 versus 7. This is 1 to 2. And now they get +1 for the charge. So this is one, they had -2, and now they have -1. Still not very good situation. And 5. So both sides have to undergo morale check. Okay, first Poles, and well, they are fine. And now Russians, they failed. Okay, so well, first line of Russians is completely disorganized. That's bad. And now Poles are losing their charge marker because they weren't able to force enemy to retreat. And when enemy is not retreating, then you are losing your charge marker. And now we have to check for the losses. Poles had 3, so it's 3-4. And 8 in the 3-4, it is nothing. And Russians had 7 and 4, this is nothing. Okay, so this concludes Polish movement phase, and now we can resolve Polish attacks, because Poles have to attack Russians. Okay, and this is going to be tough. So this battalion attacks that group, and they are on the march, so they have their strength halved. So Poles are firing at them with the strength of 4. They missed, and they are firing back also with a strength of 4, and they hit. Oh no, I guess not. 8. No, this is not enough. So now we have a combat. Poles have 4 and Russians have 4, so this is 1 to 1, but Poles get +1 because Russians are disorganized. 7. Oh, that's amazing. Russians have to retreat, and they have to undergo morale check. They passed. Good for them. Poles have to undergo morale check as well. They passed, and they are not going to perform a pursuit. They want to stay where they are. So now let's check for losses. Poles had 4, so 3-4, and 11. 1 loss for Russians. This is Żytomierski. And Russians had 4. No losses for Poles. That's good. Okay, first attack went pretty well. Now the second attack. This battalion attacks here. It has 3-4, so it has 2. Oh my. But this one has 3. Okay, so now, first of all, rifle combat. Poles 8, but they have 2, so I think they missed. Yes, and Russians, they also missed. So, normal combat. We have 2 versus 3, so it would be 1 and 1 to 1.5, so it would be -1 for Poles, but enemy is disorganized, so this means that Poles get +1. So -1 + 1 is total of 0, so no modifiers, simply a roll. 4. So both sides are performing morale check. So first Poles, they made it, and now Russians. 8, but there is commander on the adjacent hex, so they passed. Okay, now losses. Poles had 2, and wow, Russians suffer 1 loss. And now Polish losses. 7, no losses for Poles. Okay, and the final battle. This is artillery, so it cannot fight, and this cavalry, well, it has to fight against Russians, and this unit has 7, Poles have 1. So this is -4, -5 because we are out of command, and +1 because enemy is disorganized. So this is -4 to die roll, not a good situation, 0. So both sides have to undergo morale checks, and Poles have to retreat. So they are moving back 1 hex, and they are undergoing morale check. They passed, and now we have to make a morale check for Russians. 8. So they failed. Wow, this means that they have to retreat 1, 2. They are broken. And this Russian unit is also forced to undergo morale check because it is on the same hex with a broken unit, so they are fine. And now losses. Okay, so let me check. Russians had a strength of 7, so it will be 7-8 verse. 3. No losses for Poles, and Poles had strength of 1. Well, not a big chance to score any hits on Russians. No. So that's all when it comes to Russian attacks. Well, that was a tough Polish attacks. That was a tough battle, and this concludes turn 11. We are moving into turn 12. So let's go to check who is going to have initiative this time. Poles, Russians. Poles have initiative. Okay, now, well, both sides want to do some reorganization, but first check for the range of command. They are in command, they are not, and all the Russian units are in command. Now reorganization. Okay, this battalion, 8, and they are adjacent to the commander, so they can. So they have 7. This artillery, it cannot. Ooh, that's bad. Now this unit cannot. These guys, 8, but they are on the same hex with commander, so they can. Now this broken unit, they cannot. They remain broken, and these guys, 8, they are also broken. So, I mean disorganized. Well, no good for Russians. And now Polish artillery. This one is disorganized, so it cannot fire, but this artillery fires at this Russian unit. Well, that's miss. So no artillery fire for Poles, and now Polish movement. So this battalion, 1, 2, 3 goes here. Polish commander goes there, and this Polish lone cavalry, 1, 2, 3 goes here. So that's all for the Polish movement. Time for the Polish combat. So these 2 Polish battalions here are attacking Russians. So this is 4 and 2. So they have 6. They are firing at Russians with their rifles. 6 and 6. This is a miss. And Russian unit has 3 because they are on the marshes. They missed. So this is 6 versus 3. So this is 2 to 1. And +1 because enemy is disorganized. So this is +3 for Poles. It is 7, so it is 1T. Russians have to undergo morale check. They failed, so they are broken. They have to retreat 1 hex and then 2 hexes because they are broken. And now this artillery has to undergo a disorganization check. It is 8, but it is on the same hex with commander, so it passes. Okay. That's good. And now losses. Poles had strength of 6, 10 in the strength of 6. This is one loss for Russians. Minsky. And Polish losses. No losses for Poles. Okay, that's all for the Poles. And now Russians. Well, Russians are in a pretty bad situation. They are not going to, they need to, well, reorganize their forces. So their artillery fires here. A miss. This artillery fires there. Oh, I think they hit. This is 10. Morale check for Poles. They failed. Oh, and this artillery is already disorganized, so it is broken. And Polish infantry is disorganized. And now Russian infantry and commanders. Well, what I can do? I will move this battalion 1, 2, 3 to protect this artillery, and this commander, he goes there to maybe here to reorganize these two regiments. This unit goes here, so it will be stacked with a commander. And well, that's all for Russians. Russians are not fighting this turn, so we are moving into next turn. Let's roll for the initiative. Poles, Russians. So Poles have initiative. Now Polish command ship. They are all in command, safe to them. And now Polish and Russian, well, all the Russian units are under command. Now reorganization. This infantry is back to normal. This artillery, it is disorganized, but it's not broken anymore. And now Russians. Well, they have a lot of stuff to do. First here, 9. Commander is on the adjacent hex, but well, this would give us 8, not enough. Now here, 8, minus 1 due to the commander on the adjacent hex, so 7, so they are reorganized. Here, 7, they are reorganized as well. So all these units are back to normal. Okay, and now Polish artillery fires at this hex. It misses. This artillery is disorganized, so it cannot fire. And Poles are not doing any more stuff. Russians. Russian artillery also fires at Poles. Here, a miss. There, a miss. And well, they also don't do much stuff because they need to reorganize all their units. So this concludes turn 13. We are moving into turn 14. Initiative roll. Poles, Russians. Poles still hold the initiative. So I will try to reorganize this artillery. First of all, command ship, but all the units are in the range of commander. Safe to them, of course. So this artillery wants to get back to normal. They made it. And now Russians. Well, they have a lot of units to reorganize. First this one. They made it. This one. They made it. And this one. They made it. So all the Russian units are back to normal. That's good for Russians. And now Polish artillery can fire at Russians. First, these guns are firing here. 10. 10. This is -1. So this unit suffers 1 loss, and these guns are firing here. 8, and I believe this is a miss, but let me check. Yes, this is a miss. Okay, so that's all when it comes to the Polish artillery fire. And now Polish movement. Well, I don't think I have to move anywhere with my Poles. So, Russians. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 1. Okay, they are preparing for the attack in the next turn. So this concludes turn 14. So we are moving into turn 15. Initiative roll. Russians, Poles. So Russians have initiative now. And no one has to reorganize because all the units are finally reorganized. All the units are in command safe to this Polish unit. So now Russian artillery wants to fire. So this artillery fires here. It misses. This artillery fires here. 9, range of 2. This is 1 hit. So this battalion suffers 1 loss. And now Russians are moving. 1, 2. 1, 2. 3, 4. 3, sorry. And now when they are here, they can be fired by Polish artillery. It misses, I believe. Yes, that's a miss. And now here and here. This infantry is fired by Polish artillery as well. 6, a miss. So that's all when it comes to the Russian movement, and now we have to check for the Russian attacks. This is going to be a massive Russian assault, so I think it might be quite effective. I will start here. This battalion has regiment has 5. They are firing at Polish cavalry. It is 9. So this is a hit. So Polish cavalry is eliminated because it had only one point left. And they can take that hex. Now this regiment, it fires onto this hex. It has 7. Wow, quite strong. But it misses. Polish infantry has 1 point left. Oh, that's bad. And they miss. So we have 7 versus 2. So it is 3 to 1. And 1. So it's plus 3. It is 4. So each side suffers morale check. Russians, they passed. Poles, oh, that's horrible. They failed. And now losses. Russians had 7. 5 in the 7. I think these are no losses. Yes. And Poles 4. No losses for Russians. Okay, and now here. These 2 regiments are attacking. And now they both have their strength half because of fire. They are on the march. So this one has 2 and this one has 2. So they have total strength of 4 and they are firing at Poles with the strength of 4. They missed. Polish infantry here has 4 and 5. So Poles are firing with the strength of 5. 9 in the strength of 5. 1 hit. So this unit suffers 1 hit. Okay, so Russians have 2 and 2, so they have 4 versus 6. This is 1 to 2 for Russians, so they have -1 for their die roll. 3. And 3 means Russians have to step back and they have to undergo morale checks. They've passed, and attack defender has to undergo morale check. They passed as well. Okay, so now let's calculate the losses. Russians have 4, so 3, 4. No losses for Poles, and Poles had 6, and 6, no losses for Russians. Okay, that's all when it comes to the Russian attack. Well, that was pretty devastating on that flank. So, what Poles can do? I have still one battalion left, which has 3 points only. Not bad. You can tell that Poles are have problem with their strength being limited. Polish units are not doing well, so I think I need to do some movement with my units. So this battalion moves here, while this battalion goes here. Alright, so that's all, and Poles have to attack them. It will be 4 versus 7. Okay, this will be it will be -1 for Poles. But first, rifle combat. Let's see if this can change anything. Polish fire, nothing. Russian fire, nothing. So Poles are attacking with -1 to die roll. 6 minus 1 is 5, so both sides have to undergo morale checks. Russians, they passed. Poles, they passed. And now losses. Poles had 4, so 8 in the column of 4, no losses for Russians. Russians had 7 in the and 10, 1 loss for Poles. It is 3-3. So this concludes turn 15. We are moving into turn 16. I really wonder if Poles will made it, because, well, they are defending, but you can tell that their strength is going down. Let's see. These are Polish units, and we don't have 8th regiment, so we have only 4th and 3rd regiment. So you can see that most of these units are fighting with 1 or 2 strength points. So of course Russian units suffered losses too, but they are doing better. Okay, so let's go to the turn 16 command. First initiative. Russians, Poles have initiative. Okay, now comment. All the Polish units are in range of commanders. Same go to Russians. Reorganization. This unit 9, so it cannot be reorganized. This artillery also, because it is adjacent to enemy, and all the Russian units are fine. So that's all. Now we can move Polish units. And I will move this battalion here, and this artillery goes there. Oh, first of all, I forgot about Polish artillery, sorry. So Polish artillery fires at Russians here. 9, and how many strength points do we have here? 3, 5, so no, this is a miss. Okay, now let's go back to the movement. So this battalion moves here, artillery joins it. This battalion steps back, this battalion takes its place. . and they will change their facing like that. And the commander will go on this hex. So that's all for the Poles. And now, do they want to attack anywhere? Well, they have to fight with these Russians. So this is 3-3. So it has 3 versus 7. Yes, this unit is 7. Yes, so this will be 1-2. But first, Polish rifle attack. 9. This is a miss, and Russians 6. This is a miss. So now we have 1-2 for Poles because they are attacking 3 versus 7. And 4. So these are morale checks for both sides. For Russians 10. And they have commander, so they passed. And Poles 9. They have commander on the adjacent hex, so they passed. Without the commanders, both stacks will be broken. Losses. Poles had 3 and 8 into 3. This is a miss. Russians have 7 and 4, a miss. So that's all for Poles. And now Russians. First, Russian artillery fires here, a miss, and there, a miss. Now Russian movement. This regiment goes here, this one goes here, this one goes there, and this one goes here. So the Russians see that the battle is about to end quickly because we are here and we have 2 more turns to go, so they want to make one more devastating attack, hoping it will be enough to break through the Polish positions. So these 2 are attacking here, and they have 7 and 5, so they have 12. They are both firing here with the strength of 10. Oh my! 11. This is T minus 1. So this Polish battalion suffers 1 loss. And it has to undergo morale check. It passed. Poles are firing back with the strength of 3 and they failed. So we have 7 and 5. So it's 12 versus 2 and 3. 12 versus 3, this is 4-1. And 9. 9. 1D TP. So Polish units have to retreat 1 hex and they are disorganized instantly. So this unit retreats here. Artillery is disorganized, so it is broken. It cannot retreat, and now Russians have to undergo morale checks, so they are fine, they can take this hex, so Polish artillery is eliminated. And the other group is not going to pursue, so they don't have to undergo morale checks. And now Russian attack on that hex. So 3, 5, and 7, they are firing together. This is a miss, and Polish battalion here has 3 and 7, a miss. So it's 7 versus 4, but because of the artillery. So this is 1 to half. So it's +1 for Russians. And 7, amazing. 1 T and T. So Polish infantry has to retreat, but notice that it cannot retreat because wherever it would retreat, it would be in the enemy zone of control, so it has to suffer 1 loss instead. And now it has to undergo morale check. It fails, so Poles And now Russians. Here they are disorganized. Here they are also disorganized, and there they are fine. Okay, and now the losses. Poles had 4, so no losses for Russians, and Russians had 7, 6, no losses for Poles. Okay. So that's all when it comes to the Russian attacks. And now Poles. Well, they are doing bad. Artillery fires here, and it hit. This is 49. It suffers 1 loss. This Polish artillery is disorganized, so it cannot fire. And now what Polish units can do? Well, they are adjacent to the enemy and they don't have free hexes to retreat. Same goes to them. So all they can do is to remain on the hexes where they are. And well, I think they are going to be eliminated sooner or later. But the question is if they will be able to fight back until the end of the game. Well, not sure about it, but well, we have to. So these Polish units are attacking here. I have 2-3 and 3-3. So they have 3 of strength. They are firing. They missed. Russians are firing back. They missed. So now we have 3 versus 5. So it will be 1 to 2, 1 to 1.5. Minus, so it will be -1 and -2 because they are disorganized. So it's -2 for Poles, and 4, this is 2. So they have to retreat 1 hex, and they have to undergo morale check. 6, they passed. Russians have to undergo morale check. They passed, and they can perform a pursuit, which of course they want to. And now losses. Poles had 3, no losses for Russians. Russians had 7, no losses for Poles. Now here, this is even a worse situation. This battalion has a strength of 2, and now it fights versus. Let me find how many strength points they have. 3, 2 and 1, so 6. Russians are firing at Poles with the strength of 6, nothing. Poles are firing with the strength of 2, nothing. So we have 2 versus 6, 1 to 3, so it's -3. And both sides are disorganized, so nothing. 2. This is -3, so yeah, this is less than 0. Poles have to step back. They cannot, so they suffer 1 loss. They undergo instant disorganization, so they are broken, and they have to make a morale check. They passed. And Russians, well, they don't have to undergo morale checks. So losses after combat. Poles have 2, no losses for Russians. Russians had 6, 8. 1 loss for Polish unit, so it is 1-4. Yes, it is eliminated. And this concludes turn 16. We are moving into turn 17. Now initiative roll. Poles, Russians. So Poles have initiative, and this artillery fires here. Wait. Everything in order. Yes, this artillery fires, so it was... I'm going to roll again. 7, this is a miss. This group cannot do much, because these 2 hexes are in the enemy zones of control, and this artillery cannot do much either. So that's all for Poles, and I think I will move back with this group into this town. So they are fighting with them. This is 2 and 1, so they have 3. They are firing, they missed. Russians are firing, they also missed. So 3 versus 7, it is 1 to 2, and -1 because of the disorganization, it's -3. -2, it's -1. So Poles are disorganized instantly, so they are broken, and they have to undergo morale check. They passed, so they need to move 1 and then 1, 2 because of the breaking. So that's all for the Poles. And now Russians. Well, what Russians can do? Well, they will attack this Polish artillery, hoping to get rid of it finally. And now this unit moves here. Polish artillery fires at them. Wow! They are in the problematic situation, so they score the hit. Amazing! This is -2 and morale check. So morale check for Russians. They failed. Okay, looks like we managed to stop them. Now this regiment. 1, 2, 3, 4. They are going to fight with Polish artillery only. So they are firing with the rifles with the strength of 6, and 1, they score the hit. Polish artillery is no more. So this concludes Russian actions. Oh no, they are attacking here, sorry. So Polish infantry battalion has a strength of 1. Oh my, it fires with rifles on Russians. No hit. Russian regiment has a strength of 3 and -2 because they are firing into the town. It is nothing. So combat. They have 3 versus 2. So this is +1. And next they have -1 because they are disorganized, so it's 0. And -2 because they are attacking town. 4. So both sides have to undergo morale checks. Russians passed. Poles, they lost. Oh, how unlucky. And now losses after combat. Russians had 3 and -2. Oh! No, this gives us nothing. And Poles, they had 3 + 2, so 7, 8. And 8 in the 7, 8. 1 loss for Russian regiment. This concludes turn 17, and we are moving into last turn. Okay, that was hard and bloody battle for both sides. Let's check for initiative. Poles, Russians, Poles have initiative. Now reorganization. This group, 7, they passed since they have a commander. And Russians. These 2 units, first them, they made it, and them, 9, they failed. They cannot because they are adjacent to each other. So now Polish units are moving. Okay. Let me think. This unit goes there. This group goes here. And now, Polish artillery wasn't able to fire because of being disorganized, so Poles are trying their best to drive Russia to attack this already disorganized Russian unit. So they have 2 and 3. So they are attacking with this, firing with the rifles with the strength of 3 and missed. Russians have also 2 and they missed. So 3 versus 2. It is 1 to 1.5, so it's +1. Both sides are disorganized, so nothing. So Poles have +1 for the die roll. 4. So both sides have to undergo morale checks. Russians, they failed, so they are broken. And now Poles, they are also failed, so they are broken. Now losses after combat. Poles had 3, no losses. Russians had 2 and 11. 1 loss on Polish side. That's horrible. And this is 3, 4. So this one is eliminated. Okay, and now Russians. Well, what Russians can do? Can they dream of capturing Dobre? I believe they have to attack. So 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So they hope to capture the town with this last desperate attack. So they are attacking this artillery together. So they are firing at it with the strength of 10. 8. This is 6 because of the town. This is a miss. So they are attacking. The artillery has 1 and they have 7 and 5, so it's 12, so it's 4 to 1, minus plus 2, plus 4, plus 5 because of enemy being disorganized, and minus 2 because of the city, of the town, so it's plus 3 for Russians, and 7. So Poles have to undergo morale check. They failed, so they are broken, and Russians have to undergo morale check. Here they failed. No, because they are with commander, and here, oh, sorry, they passed, so they can take this hex, and due to this fact, this artillery is eliminated. And the last attack, this unit, well, yeah, I think I have chosen the worst unit possible because it has only 2 points. Okay, it's 2, it fires two times. 7 and 8, this is a miss. Polish unit has only 1 point left, so it fires back nothing. And now Russians have 2 versus 1, this is plus 2, plus 1 because of the enemy being disorganized, and minus 2 because of the town, so it's plus 1 for Russians, and 5, both sides have to undergo morale checks. Russians, they are fine. Poles, they are fine. So I can only roll for losses. For Russian losses, no losses. For Polish losses, no losses. Okay, and this concludes the battle. Now, Poles still control 1 hex of the town. Russians also control 1 hex of the town. So this would be a draw when it comes to the number of the points. But when it comes to the losses, I think Russians are victorious. But even so, this is not something I would call a great victory, because most of the Russian units lost more than half of their strength. So this is at last marginal victory for Russians. So that's all. Thank you for watching and see you next time.